It's a beautiful sunny afternoon here from Cambridge, and it's an exciting episode on Next Level Discourse. And we have here with us my co-host Samuel from Manitoba. Sam, how far?
Hi everyone, I'm doing very fine. Today's podcast is it's going to be a very exciting one. I'm really looking forward to an amazing discussion. Thank you all for joining us, and I'm sure you're going to learn something today that will help you to move into the next level. Thank you.
Yes, that's exciting. Sam, a few days ago I was discussing with Tesla. We call him Tesla. That's Dr. Adewunmi Akingbola, about congratulating him about his recent award being named among the 100 Queen Elizabeth Commonwealth Trust. And in our discussion about what he did to build the profile to win the award, he mentioned the New England Biolabs Award, and that was really, really exciting because I remember, was it this time last year, both of you met in Ipswich, Massachusetts. You are also a recipient of the award last year. Both of you met to receive that. That was exciting. And given that the award is currently open now, we just think it's very useful to have both of you now talk on what you did to have won that award. First of all, congratulations on winning it and how that has shaped your journey so far. And this episode will just be mainly for people who are applying for the award and they just want to know the practical steps from what you've done. Did you just apply all of a sudden, or have you been building a profile towards that, the decision steps, what the award has to offer you and all those things like that. We have on this call Tesla, Dr. Adewunmi Akingbola. We are both here in Cambridge. Tesla, how far?
I'm fine. Hi, everyone. It's nice to be on the podcast again. As Ademola has said, I am Adewunmi Akingbola, but feel free to call me by Tesla. And I'm looking forward to a very exciting discussion. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. So let me just start with Tesla. What category of New England Biolab Award did you get? Was it like there are different categories, and do you have to decide on the specific category that matches your profile, or that you stand a better chance at winning? And how does that work?
Yes. So thank you very much, Ademola. So the New England Biolabs has 4 categories. You understand? So you can apply into only one of the 4 categories. I know one of the categories has to do with mentorship, and the one category has to also do with humanitarian duty, which was the one that I applied into and got selected for. You understand? So that's it. And just to touch a little bit on the eligibility criteria for the awards. So it's essentially open to every life scientist. If you're a master's student, if you're a PhD student, if you're a postdoc, if you are already a practicing or a working scientist, if you're a professor, you are, and your research or your work has to do with life sciences, you are already eligible. That's number 1. Number 2, if you are located in any part of the world, you are also eligible. You understand? And number 3, as long as you are above the age of 21 years old, you are also eligible. So that invariably, what it means is that if once you're already doing a PhD, you understand, or you are doing a master's and above 21 years old, you are eligible to apply for the award. And there are 4 categories. So you look at which of the categories you or your profile are a best fit for. So for me, it was the humanitarian duty, because I have had significant track records in humanitarian endeavor. So it was very easy for me to fit into that category. Thank you.
Yes, that's very exciting. And as you mentioned, the humanitarian, people who know you would instantly jump to HealthDrive Nigeria and the amazing work being done with testing and screening and subsidized vaccination services for different people in different locations in Lagos, Nigeria. So it's important that you've clarified about the categories, about the eligibility for the categories, and that. Quickly to Sam, if I would remember correctly, or if I would guess, I think you applied for you got the mentorship one, if I'm right, with Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about the Swiss Africa Empower program that you do. So
Yeah.
over to you.
The one I got is Passion in Science.
Oh, yes.
So,
That's true.
Yeah, that one is for the work we're doing at Shaping African Women in STEM. So that was the one I got. And just like Tesla said, everyone in life sciences are eligible for the program. And especially if you're, doing, maybe you're in the lab, you're doing research, but you also have passion for community, right? It's more like translating your work to, impact people. Maybe you have an organization, you have a project that you're doing that is touching the lives of people, then you have all it takes to win the award. Yeah, so mine was Passion in Science due to the work we're doing at Shaping African Women in STEM in general. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just hold on with you on that. Concerning the profile, and I'm sure with the putting up a profile, submitting for the award, and how did you shape the work you do in supporting women in STEM to be exactly fitting for that kind of award? I think, or correct me if I'm wrong, when you started SWIS Africa, you had no intention that the program is solely for you to win this award. It was
Yes.
your passion for empowering young women in STEM, undergraduates who have passion for science, engineering. So how did you now build up the work you do in SWIS Africa to win the Passion in Science award?
Yeah, I think one thing that helped was having a clear definition of what the organization is doing and how it connects to the objective of that particular award. So for us at SWIS Africa, one thing that is core to every project we do is storytelling, right? So, and scientific storytelling today is one of the big things, right? So what we tried to do was to let the reviewers of the application know that we are into using storytelling to empower young girls in Africa that are in STEM, mainly to pursue their interest and also to be able to advance in their career. So everything we put in the application was focused on that, right? So we're not more like jumping around based on the project we're doing, but rather we bring all the project together under a unified team, right? If you have a project and you are doing multiple things, you don't want to be jumping from one thing to another, but rather you should ask a question: what connects everything together? So for us, it was storytelling. And when we looked at the session, as Tesla mentioned, there were different sessions. To be sincere, at first I was thinking of putting it under humanitarian side, so I'll probably be competing with Tesla, and I'm sure we'll not be able to maybe get it. So I was like, oh, don't let me go there. Let me just stay in science. So when I looked at the what they need, and it's clearly aligned with what we're doing at SWIS Africa, so then we put in the application, and that's how we got in. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Let me quickly go back to Tesla. Dr. Adewunmi, what's and I'm sure it's quite a kind of duty or work when you are building up the story in the application. Did you provide evidences for what you do in HealthDrive Nigeria or in other endeavors that you're doing that you put up in the application? Did you provide evidences of like media presence or some kind of document or recommendation letters? How did you prove that what you're saying that you're doing is actually true in your application?
All right. Yeah, thank you. That's a very good question, because I think it's an aspect that a lot of people, I think it's an aspect that, first of all, deters people from applying to certain opportunities. And at the same time, it's an aspect that also screens people out, even when they have applied. So, looking at the application, I cannot exactly remember if they asked me to submit any particular evidentiary document, but I put down a recommender, and so a recommendation was submitted on my behalf. However, when myself and Samuel got to the headquarters of New England Biolabs, and I asked so the person that was our major host, I asked her some questions, and then from the responses she gave, I think that they have a panel that were responsible for ranking and screening applications, number one, and number two, they also did background checks. So, and I think that they relied on your digital footprints for your background checks. Now, when I got the award, I did something. All of the people that were also selected for the award, I made sure to check every single one of them on social media. Understand? I did that. I checked for the people that got it 4 years ago also, and I can assure you, one thing that was very common between the latest recipients and every person that had received this is significant digital footprints. Oh my God! If you see those recipients' footprints, oh my God! Sometimes I keep asking why and how I was able to still get the award. Looking at the people that had gotten it in our cohort alone, we had like 2 or 3 professors. There's no way you would search those people's name online that you will not see significant, massive stuff. Do you understand? So for you to want to compete in such an award with such category of scientists, you yourself must have serious digital footprint. So your digital footprint must be able to tell your story. Your digital footprint must be able to serve as reliable, independent evidence of your work. Do you get? So, for example, if you search my full name on Google, you would see that it is affiliated with HealthDrive Nigeria. Easily, you will see links to our website, you will see links to our Instagram page, and the moment you open our Instagram page, you would see timestamps of each of our projects, because pictures, of course, when you upload pictures to Instagram and upload videos, they are timestamps, they are date stamps. You understand? So there's no way you can fake that. I cannot post a video and backdate it to 2018. It's impossible. So if I say that this thing started in 2019, and on Instagram I have a post from 2019, it already validates itself. You understand? So that is why everyone generally, scientists should generally be very, very interested in intentionally building their digital footprints, intentionally in quotes, because as scientists, many a times due to our passion for science, we are not necessarily inclined to working on our digital footprint. So aside from the letter of recommendation that was submitted on my behalf, of course, that would have also sort of served as an independent validation. I think that if you really want to be competitive for so many of these kind of things, once your name is searched online, people should be able to see and tell your story or validate your story and your impact from your digital footprint. Now, that being said, I've already uncovered an entire box of what exactly you should do to build your digital footprint. But maybe we can have this conversation at a separate podcast. But with respect to this England Biolabs application, yes, you can submit your application and rely on the fact that the person that will write your letter of recommendation will be strong, and that should suffice for the application. But also, going forward, it might not necessarily be for this year's nomination, but going forward, you can intentionally build your digital footprint, and it will always serve as independent validation for your impact and your story. Thank you.
Wow, that is very, very interesting and encouraging to hear. Digital footprints. And there is a saying, I don't know if it's a saying or it's a popular quote in science, that if it's not written, it is not done. So whatever you've done or whatever you are doing, you need to put your story out there. And you're not just putting your story out there for the sake of this kind of awards, but you're putting your story out there to inform the audience, to encourage others, and for many reasons, people should know what you're doing coming out there. And that's one of the reasons we're doing this podcast, to share the stories and through the processes that has got you to win this award. Quickly, I'll just go to Sam. And I don't know if you were asked this question in your application, but how would you say you are passionate for science to win that award in terms of using the SWIS Empower Her program that you're doing? How did you just narrate your own passion for science in the application? So, for example, for those who are applying now, how do they just come up with that, motivating and enticing story from whatever they are doing to fit the award? Do you have any honest opinion on that?
Yeah, thank you very much. And a great answer, Tesla. That's actually very important. Digital footprint is everything. You have to be intentional about it. And sorry, I just checked. Actually, it was science, mentorship, and advocacy.
Okay, I was right.
So, oh, when they gave us their award was passion in science, so I forgot the remaining part. So it's science, mentorship, and advocacy, because that connect to the answer I'm going to give now. And just to add, also, we did a video. I think a 2-minute video to talk about what we did, what we're doing. So yeah, we did, because I also put the application too. We submitted this application 2024, so I even forgot what we put. Yeah. So I just quickly checked. Remember. So we did a video, and so this exact question you asked actually was asked also in the program.
Wow.
And I had to go back to the root of why I founded SWIS Africa and the story behind it. So for you to be able to apply for anything, you have to be very good at reflection. People forget things very fast. If you do, you did a program 2-3 years ago, you don't take time to sit down and even ask yourself, why did we do this? Okay, what are the things we did right? What are the things we did wrong? What are the impacts we made? How many people were impacted? All of those things are very, very important for you to be able to have a concrete story to tell people, because people can read your story and just know that this is not connecting. This is not, you can't tell me that you started a project based on this, right? So there's something that you really need to share. So for me, then I look back to when I was in FUTA, right? When I did my undergrad and we all graduated, I had a lot of female friends. I studied biochemistry, and one thing I noticed is some of these my friends did not end up maybe pursuing their interest in what we studied, right? Some had to maybe go into banking, some had to go into online selling, different things, right? So these already point out something that there's a challenge, for people that studied STEM courses to be able to transition into their career. And for female, the challenge is higher compared to the males, right? For males, maybe it's possible for you to push through, but from females, once they hit 1 or 2 blocks, they might have to maybe switch. So what we're trying to do is to encourage people to stay connected to their passion using stories, right? So we invite women that have been able to rise, above all these challenges and are currently successful in STEM to share their story, and also those that are currently in the program to also come and share their story. So I kind of bring all of this together, and again, the answers were like 150 words, so you have to really go straight to the point. You're not jumping around. You have to it's just a paragraph, so you want to really ensure that you put in the right things, right? So I did that, and as I mentioned, we did a video too. That's also another opportunity for you to inspire people. And one thing is, just like Tesla said, a lady actually walked up to me when we were at their headquarters. I did not even ask, just walk up to me that, I saw your application. I'm like, oh really? Yeah, that she saw SWIS Africa application and she was really inspired by the work we did, that she actually voted us high. I was like, wow. That's what she said, right? So you don't know who's going to check your application, so you want to also ensure that you really, really put in the best. And this is a great program. I'm sure we're still going to talk about all the perks that came with it, but you really want to put in your best, and it's very competitive. In Canada, they only pick 2 people, and I think across the world, I think only 12 or so was selected. So imagine New England Biolabs in, I think they said they're in maybe 190 countries. I don't know how many countries they're in. And everybody applied, right? And they only picked 12. So you have to really, know what you're doing, and you have to really stand out.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing that. I can attest to the fact that whatever you're putting up, from what you've said, it has to be a real, I wouldn't say problem, but a real issue that you're trying to address. And I studied microbiology too from FUTA, and it's not just biochemistry, like microbiology, some of these STEM courses, people just they meet some certain perks or challenges, and they just try to do other things or go into banking. Or I'm not saying those are not good, but if you've spent 4 or 5 years studying a particular science course, you did a 3 to 6 months research, submitted a dissertation for the award of your bachelor's degree, there could be something that has interested you there. You talk of public health, you talk of infectious diseases, you talk of lab research, connecting those. And just to mention that it would be good to, go deep into some of these issues and how SWIS Africa is, solving some of these problems, how SWIS Africa is encouraging young scientists, young students, especially women, to stay focused from via that storytelling approach. But again, it is recognized as a big problem which you're solving, and you're able to use to explain that in 150 words, very concise. So this is where you want to manage everything you're saying to be straight to the point. So that's very, very important. Thank you very much for sharing that. Yeah. To Tesla. I'll just this question. So for someone who doesn't have this kind of initiatives like HealthDrive or SWIS Africa that Samuel is doing, and let's say the person's profile reads as they've done a master's, they are doing a PhD research program, they've written papers, they've published, they've attended conferences where they've given oral or poster presentations, and that is all. They only have Google Scholar to, prove this. They have conferences, attendance, certificates from these conferences that they've given oral presentation in this country, far in that country. They have a very good publication and research record, but they don't have this kind of initiatives. Mm-hmm. What category of the award would you think they could fit into, and how do you think they can connect their story to this kind of award?
All right, so that is a very good question, because it's particularly relevant for people that are actually very passionate about science in the lab. Yeah. And sometimes the way some subcategories of scientific fields they take up pretty much most of your time, such that you might not necessarily have extra time to combine and to delve into other non-academic activities. However, I think that having such a persona does not automatically exclude one from being nominated or from applying. So, first of all, the focus of the award is for scientists in the lab that are one way or the other working in the real world, that either translating their research, their sciences to real world impact, or already having real world impact one way or the other that's still related to sciences. Understand? So the first thing I would say is that it's very important to actually have some real world engagement. Now, from my experience, there are several ways by which you can frame real world engagement. You understand? So if their research has influenced something, if their research has influenced an environmental policy, has influenced some changes has influenced any change in any way, they have to then look at the specificity of the change, or of the influence, and try to align it with one of the categories. For example, we have a category called the Environmental Stewardship Program. You understand? So it has to do with environmental conservation and reduction of waste and all of that. So if your lab research is, even if your lab research is in, for example, one of my friends doing in his final year of PhD in Cambridge, in their research, they just found a way to convert something into hydrogen, which is a way of reducing waste in that area. Did you get? Now, that is a scientific research that was done in a lab for the last 4 years that has not even had real world impact, but there's a potential for it. So that alone can be framed, you get, can be framed and then can be used to nominate for the Environmental Stewardship Award. Now, I'm not saying that the person would be competitive enough to win, but it is a good starting point. So sometimes if you frame your story properly, your research properly, and the potential impact you get, you might be lucky enough to rank high when several panel members do their ranking. You understand? But I think to have the ultimate strong application, there has to be some real world impact. So again, it is also a cue for researchers and scientists to also prioritize real world impact. For example, if your research has clear-cut, direct reward impact, you should have started to pursue that potential reward impact from like during your research years. No matter how difficult it is, you should just try, because again, it's a sort of positioning for you understand, and for your research. So ultimately, or in summary, I think that it's important that your science or your research should already have reward impact, or there should be very strong potential of reward impact from your science and research. And finally, everyone that's interested in applying for this award should apply anyways. There's no cost to applying. But I think it would be an introduction to how you can frame your science to show its reward impact under any of these categories. You understand? There's the arts and creativity award, and this one is for how people leverage creativity to advance their scientific pursuits. Again, you can look at your scientific research. How have you been creative in any of your processes? Do you understand? That one alone. So for that one, you don't necessarily must have had 10,000 people use your product, but if you have employed creativity one way or the other in your science, you are eligible for that. So definitely, I mean, so you see that the categories are well defined, and not all of them requires that you should have extra academic initiatives. Just depend on how exactly you frame your story. Now, for Samuel's category, the scientific mentorship and advocacy award, it's possible that as a PhD student, you have mentored bachelor students, mentored master students. You understand? It's possible that as a postdoc in a particular lab, you have 15 students under you, 5 bachelors, 3 masters, 2 PhDs. You understand? If you frame that story very, very well, you might be able to get the award. As a PhD student, or even as a researcher generally, you might informally be mentoring people informally, like there's no structure, there's no label to it. You understand? Again, find the uniqueness in that and communicate it as part of your story for the award. Do you understand? So that way, one way or the other, it doesn't guarantee you the award, but it allows you to start thinking of how you can better tell your story and better prepare the evidence for it for future awards. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. That was very, very concise and precise. And just as we're about to drop the curtain on this, I will just go to Samuel quickly. Any final words or any sort of final advice to those who are preparing an application to submit now? What would be say? Yeah. Someone just called you now to say, I'm about to submit. What can you just say? Yeah.
So I'm going to build up or take it from where Tesla stopped earlier. So another thing to add is anything you're doing, kind of give it a name. Please do. I checked all the people that also win. There's something about them. They just call it a program, right? Yes. Maybe you're mentoring students in the lab. Give it a name. Everything is all about packaging, right? So it doesn't have to be complicated. You can just say, okay, I have this program that I encourage young students on campus. That's all. But give it the name. You can call it maybe the Ignite program or something like that. So once you give something a name, it changes the whole thing. It takes it from you, right? As I said, you're competing with a lot of people. And if you read the profile of these people that won the award, they're actually very great, right? So you want to attach it to something, right? So the other final words I can give to you is this: packaging is very important. Today, now creating a website, having social media pages is very easy, right? Anything you're doing, just put it behind, something, right? Build something outside of you for it, right? So that will give you a lot of edge. And this program is very, very, it's a very amazing program. We had great experience. It's interesting that me and Tesla couldn't make the major award ceremony. So we thought at first that we're not going to be able to make it to the US because then I had visa challenge. But after some months, I don't know how Tesla made it happen. We were invited, only Tesla and I, right? They invited, I think, about 12 people before. or 10 of them went, and 2 of us couldn't make it. So they literally created a different program for me and Tesla and I, and we went to their headquarters. They gave us a tour of everything they are doing. You know, they hosted us on the place like a resort center. Like, it's very beautiful. They hosted us. They gave us food, right? And interestingly, one of the Nobel laureates, the person that discovered Intron, Sir Richard Roberts, was on campus that day.
Wow.
It was like God was just
of which the 10 guys could not meet him because he was
did not meet him. He traveled.
Wow.
And he attended our talk, so he was very inspired, and he literally called us to his office. Yeah, that wants to see us, and we took pictures with him. He really inspired us. He even connected Tesla. It really was a different experience. That was actually the biggest experience. We also had lunch with their team, all their directors. They asked us what we're doing. We shared with them, and to be sincere, it was amazing. We also did a podcast there, right? And after that, again, they even need an interview for us to be in their what's it called? There's this document they sell, and it's interesting that it's only Tesla and I they've even be posting on their social media.
I'm telling you, like,
right?
It's not like as if now it's only both of us that got the award. But
we're literally like the face of it. And after they did all of these things, we now told them that we don't, because that Ipswich is like a village. We don't want to stay here. They've literally booked, maybe it's a 5-star hotel or something for us in Boston. Downtown Boston, for us to go and stay there for 2 days extra.
Wow.
So we moved around. We went to Harvard. We went to different places in Boston. We went to MIT. We went for dinner. It was a great experience. I can't forget that kind of experience. We met, nice people there too. So why are we saying all of this is, programs like this is not even for just you putting it on your CV that I won this award. It's the exposure.
Exposure gives you.
Is the exposure. Yeah. We thought their company. It was really amazing. These are life-changing, experience. So what we're trying to say is, try as much as possible to put in something.
Yeah.
You don't have to have it all figured out. Swiss Africa is still a very young organization. We're still building, right? Trump, just do it. And you have the opportunity to also give a presentation of but I don't think the 10 guys that went first gave, I don't think they did. Or even if they did, maybe very short. But our own was like a long presentation. They gave us time to talk and express ourselves. So, and we killed the presentation.
Questions and answers. No. It was very, very beautiful. I will not even lie.
Yeah, very nice. And they even did a photo session for me and Tesla and I. They took our pictures, they sent them to us. We really had almost a whole day with them, and we loved it.
Like it was like, I mean, I've received several awards, but this one just tops the list. It was a very good experience. And also to add to what Samuel said, like they themselves are very much inclined to branding. So if you search my name now, most of things that will first come out is Has to be Passion and Science Award. Because they have very good branding. Yeah, very good branding. So and then also one tip is that everyone planning to apply should make sure to go through every single recipient's profile across all of the categories of the award, so you'd have an idea of how you can structure your story and show it. That's one. Number 2 is whether you think you qualify or not. I think you should just apply. So that was also what I did. When I saw it, I didn't even have much idea about it. I read about it. I interestingly, I didn't even check the list of recipients. If I had done that, I may not even apply, because if I saw there's one particular man, one researcher, he got the humanitarian duty in 2014, I think the first or second edition. When I checked his name after I received it, this man had 200,000 citations. I said, hey,
wow.
So I applied anyway. But I think it's best for you to study everyone's profile, see how they position the uniqueness of their research and projects, and apply. No matter whether I think you qualify or not, apply. If you get it, very good. If you do not get it, it's you have already set a reaction rolling. Do you understand? So the reaction would either reaction can get completed successfully or can even fail. But the point is there's a reaction running already. And I'm sure Samuel and Ademola we agree with me that you can apply for 10 things and you might only just get 1 or 2.
That's true.
You understand? But sometimes what influences the one you get, or what influences getting that 1 or 2 can just be that you've learned like progressively from the ones that you did not get. You've learned how to structure your story. You've learned how to position your impact. Honestly, for me, whenever I write applications now, I remember when I started, and when I started, the turning point for me was when I saw people's profiles being posted after they successfully got those opportunities that I didn't get, and then they post excerpts of their application. The way I see them structure their application, I know that I'm still playing. You understand? So that way, I mean, once you pay attention to some of these things and you continue to apply, I assure you, you do not know which particular opportunity you would get. So just keep applying, keep telling your stories, keep doing impactful work, and I think you're already set up for success. Thank you.
Yeah, that is very, very great. Thank you very much. Hopefully you guys are not allowed to apply again this year, so that
that chapter is closed to it.
Yes, we shouldn't be allowed to apply again this year.
You know, once you're winning things like this, one thing you need to know is it's also important that you also push yourself. You know, that's why it's good to also be around people that are inspiring, right? People that can inspire you. You win this award, that doesn't mean that's the end, right? Yeah. You have to keep on pushing yourself and getting better and getting better and getting better. So there's still a lot of awards to receive, right? So yeah, and no matter where you are, you know that you're at a particular level. You're also aiming higher, right? To reach more. So I think one thing that Tesla, has kept on saying is you pushing yourself. You know, your mind. The moment you submit an application like this, you've trained your mind to see possibilities, right? So you're not afraid to go for another one. Whether you win it or not, it's not about winning. At times, there are many applicants. I can't even count how many last year that we 2024, and this came, and actually this just stopped everything. So when we won this one, I looked at the other ones that have applied. Like, you guys.
I'm telling you,
it's way better. The exposure alone was superb, and the branding after. At times I would just wake up like this. They've posted something about me. I'm like, wow. Or they posted something about Tesla, and then you go online. You just imagine, that branding, and once they search your name on Google, all of these things come up. Podcasts come up, video come up. Your posts come up. Different things come up about you, right? So these are things that really. That can also help our career and help us to make a move. So let's go for it this year.
And also, interestingly, I just so a friend of mine is doing his PhD at Oxford, and then the Oxford Biotech Society, they were looking for sponsors for their symposium, and then he reached out to me that can he reach out to New England Biolabs through me? I said, of course. I sent one email to the technical account manager in Cambridge. Instantly, she linked me up with the technical account manager in Oxford. In the same hour they responded, I copied my friend. My friend sent them an email in the same hour, that, and all because the access is already there through the fact that we got the award. So it's a very very good one. I think I will encourage everyone to submit an application. Yes, all right. So, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That's encouraging. From what you have explained, or from what both of you have explained, if you have an initiative doing amazing work, when you're applying, just know that you're also applying not just for yourself, for your initiative as well. Because if you get the chance to win, you will get the opportunity to talk about what you do, make presentations, get connections that would even amplify your voice, amplify your platform even stronger and louder. So that is great. So thank you very much, Sam, for sharing this wonderful insights and tips. And thank you, the amazing Dr. Tesla, Adewunmi Akingbola, for sharing these amazing tips as well on these podcasts. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so it's been an amazing episode, and thank you very much to our audience. We hope you've picked up one or two important points, even as you specifically prepare an application for the New England Biolabs Award. You've listened to our audiences. You can even go online and read their profile, read about how they even built up their story, read about their initiatives, and I'm sure if you have any question, you can always connect via LinkedIn to follow up on this conversation, follow up questions on this. So yeah, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for listening.
Yeah.